I'll hit the recording button. I'm actually gonna pull up. I'm gonna pull up the Purge. One like a run through. That way I can just kind of like on my screen drag it through and remind myself for anything possible. Um.
Fuck this camera. Yeah.
And get your last hit in.
Wonder if I can fucking find more ways to trick the camera.
I don't know. Something to put over your headboard, like a black
Well,
sheet or something.
I could. I don't want to, but I could rearrange my room to where I have the ability to have a desk in here and just put a screen behind the desk, so that way, or like a screen behind where I'd be sitting at the desk. That way, it would just be like me. Like you wouldn't see shit else besides me. But
Yeah. No worries. Okay.
there we go.
just like make like a cutout to put in front of you, and then
Yeah.
just
So it's
have your face, or like
right
like a
there.
square around your face.
Oh my god.
It gets so bright. It's so
Dude, I
funny.
know.
Okay. All right, let's begin. Get my first swig. All right, welcome back, YouTube folk, for another one. Wyatt, how we doing today?
Chilling.
Chilling.
Yeah.
Watched this movie.
Yeah, just like an hour and a half ago or so.
So, again, before we get into things, just for everybody, again, we'll do a quick. I think we'll do like a quick, like mini review of what we thought of the movie to begin with, and then we're gonna jump right into spoilers. So, and this movie's kind of old now, so please don't be butthurt over this. This movie's been around for so long, but spoiler alert. All right. I don't think we'll spend too much time talking about the movie before getting to spoilers like we did last time. I think that I noticed watching, like I looked at my analytics and I could see that a lot of people stopped watching once we started talking about spoilers, but it took us like
Yeah.
30 minutes to get to that point. So,
Yeah, a couple of my friends that I asked about it that have seen it, they said the exact same thing. It's like, oh, I've heard about the Prestige before, and I wasn't really gonna watch it until I watched your review of it, and then I had to stop it because I didn't want spoilers. So
yeah.
yeah, that kind of checks out.
Yeah, that's fair. And I think more people have probably seen this movie versus The Prestige. My That's my guess. The Purge was, I mean, it's a whole franchise. The Prestige is just
Yeah.
one movie that came out before Christopher Nolan was super well known. Um but yeah, so what did you think of this this first movie of the 5 installments?
So I already have like out the gate a controversial opinion, I guess. I
Oh man.
really don't enjoy the Purge that much.
Yeah.
I like what they like the overall message and what they're trying to do with it, but they kind of spoon feed you a lot of the stuff. So like overall, there's kind of a message of like even in a situation where we lose all laws, inherently the wealthy kind of have an edge over everybody else, and that's immediately apparent. They literally say it to you in the first like 30 seconds of actual dialogue.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know. It's interesting. I like what they're trying to do with it, but there's not enough there to keep me genuinely interested, I guess.
Okay. How many of these movies have you seen?
Just the first one. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I have actually only seen the first two movies.
Mhm.
The second one is much better. All right. The first one, I'm gonna just put it out there. I'm gonna give it two different reviews, and I think I'll give my first one, which is my critical review. My personal review, I'll give at the end, but my critical review, if I, like, I guess a good example is like I love Transformers, but I know they're terrible movies. I give them all like eights and nines out of 10. But if I give it a critic review, it's like they're like fives, like all of them.
Yeah.
They're like
Yeah.
you know. Um, this movie, my critic review is probably like a 5.5. Uh, it's basically just a break-in, like a home break-in film. You have this overarching premise of the Purge, this huge event across America, and it focuses in on this one family in their house, and 99% of the movie takes place in their house. So you can't. I would say don't expect this movie to go very far. I like that they keep it simple for the first movie, which I'm also glad that they start to reach further and go more places in the other movies. Um, you see a lot more people, a lot more chaos in the rest of the films. Because I've seen plenty of clips and things from the rest of the movies. This one is literally just the family and those breaking in. So it's um and and uh, I don't know. I guess I don't think the movie's bad. Like I find that the film is decent for what it is. It's a very safe approach to this new franchise that came out in what year was it?
No idea. Look it up real quick.
In 2013. Yeah, 2013 was the first one. So, and they've come out with four since, and mixed reviews on all of them from everybody. It seems it's either people really enjoy them or there's okay. I haven't heard anybody say that they're bad.
Mhm.
Like it's a really interesting premise. For those who have never seen The Purge, essentially, an alternate reality of America uh, has this event where for 12 hours, one night a week, essentially all crime is legal. And what we know at the beginning of the movie, the very beginning, is crime rates across the country are at an all-time low. Unemployment is below 1%. Um, and they allow this purge event every year. And I thought it's kind of an interesting premise because I like to think, okay, what if something like that were legal here in the States? And I kind of want to go into that a little bit and how you think things would play out. Um but yeah, we'll start talking about the movie. You know, give our thoughts. You go first. Give me kind of your
Mm.
thoughts. At least for the first bit of the film. You don't have to go all the way through, but we can,
Yeah. Do you want to get into
we'll talk
spoilers
about it.
now, or
Yeah,
just
yeah.
okay?
Let's get right into it. So
Um.
if you have not seen it, now is the time to click away if you don't want spoilers. But otherwise, here you go.
Yeah. So, like I was saying, the first 30 seconds of dialogue, like it's not even real dialogue. The dude's listening to the car
It's a
radio.
radio.
Yeah, and it's like a radio show talking to different people preparing for the purge. What are you going to do for this purge?
Yeah.
And there's one person that's like, well, I'm going to bunker up in my brand new security system. And then someone else says that, well, I'm going to go freaking kill my boss. Like,
Yeah.
he deserves it.
He
And
deserves it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And then there's comments by someone else saying that, like, this is the problem. We have like the wealthy just are able to bundle up in their secure homes, and they're not affected
Mm,
by the purge like the rest of us are.
yeah.
And I think that's the biggest social comment that the purge can really make is
Yep.
like that the wealthy class has an obvious advantage over the unwealthy class. Whether it comes to something like a lawless day for the purge, you have access to weapons and security systems that other people wouldn't have. But they spoon feed you it, right? Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of other elements throughout the movie that showcase that exact thought. So it's kind of disappointing that they spoon feed you that at the very beginning, in my eyes at least.
Yeah.
Um, and then outside of that, you get some interesting like foreshadowing in that first 10 minutes or so when the neighbors are all interacting with each other. You
Hmm.
start to realize that there's some awkward like social dramas and financial strife even between this well-off neighborhood,
Right.
and that comes into effect later. But yeah, at least for the first part, those were the main things I noticed.
Right. I mean, I did. I mean, for anybody that didn't really pay attention super closely to begin with, or right in that scene, especially when the wife is talking with the neighbor lady, and you can just tell this lady, she's being kind of creepy about it. But
Yeah.
I think if you might just go, she's she's just kind of a weird neighbor lady, but whatever, they're friends. But you might think, okay, well, maybe maybe we might see her again. So I guess at the twist at the end is the neighbors come in and save the day, but not really. They're actually like, no, we want to be the ones to purge, and so
Yeah.
we're gonna kill you, and we're not gonna let them do it. It's very I don't know. It's kind of expected. I don't remember watching this movie the first time around because it was so long ago, but watching it a second time, I wasn't a big fan of this one, just because there's a lot of things that happen where, like, once I didn't really have any issues with the movie up until we are introduced to the boyfriend of the girl,
Hmm.
right? They close down the home, and then he comes out of the closet, and they're being all playful and stuff, and then he's like, "Oh, I wanted to talk to your dad. He needs to know that we're gonna be together. He's just gonna have to understand." And I'm just like, "Okay, well, okay, whatever." And I actually didn't remember that he pulls a gun on her father, and then her father shoots him. That's kind of an awkward scene because I don't know. I mean, would the boy miss in a moment like that? Maybe, especially if he's like really nervous and you know.
Hmm.
So I found it kind of odd that he doesn't even hit the dad, but the dad hits him, and then she takes him upstairs, siding with her boyfriend, crying over him, and then he dies. And I'm sitting there going, "What was the point of having the boyfriend there?" And then
Yeah.
the one thing that I knew why they put that in there was uh about 2/3 of the way through the movie before they decide we're gonna fight back against these people that want to break in, um because the son lets the homeless man run inside or come inside.
Hmm.
And so now there's the dilemma, okay, we have a stranger in the house, but we're protecting him. The other people show up, they say, we want to purge, we know that you have this guy in here, we want to kill him, so give him to us and we're not going to cause any issues. And the first time I watched it, I do remember thinking these guys are definitely bluffing, they're just going to mess you up anyway. But watching it again, I just get this vibe that they really don't care about the family living in the house, they just want the guy. All these purgers seem very like they're it's like Americans have become cultists. At least those that
Yeah.
participate in the purge, they're cultists, and they're like dedicated to it, and they don't, I don't know. It's so you have these crazy people coming and saying we want our guy, give him to us. And essentially once they decide, okay, we're going to let this guy go or not, the daughter's like, look at you, how can you do this? How can you let, like, look what you've become. And I mean, he apologizes about killing her boyfriend, and she's just like, I can't believe you, and then leaves. And it's like, your boyfriend pulled the gun on your father, and you're gonna go side with the boyfriend. Like, I don't care if your boyfriend or girlfriend pulls a gun and tries to kill your parent, unless you have
Hmm.
an absolutely terrible relationship, which we don't really get that. We just get that she's just kind of she's just a teenager, you know.
Yeah,
In the
yeah.
beginning, she's just kind of like, I don't like this day. I don't like what people do on this day, but whatever. Oh, the boyfriend's here, and then that happens. So it's just little moments like that. I'm like, it's kind of silly, kind of ridiculous.
Well, I mean,
Some of the
it kind of
writing.
draws out so like the whole that whole interaction kind of draws out what the spirit of the purge is, where yeah, it's this culty mentality that apparently all of America in this parallel world has, of not only like do you get to exercise all your violent uh like natures and whatnot, and that's the thought, like you're exercising your violent nature so you won't do it for the rest of the year, but it's also like you're purging yourself of things that you feel are holding you back, or things
Yeah.
that have damaged you before, so you can move on and be better, right? That's a big part of why the neighbors end up trying to kill the family. And so I
Right.
think the boyfriend doing that, like, it was viewed from his point of view that he was taking out a factor that was holding back his relationship with the love of his life.
Yeah.
And even though the girl, like that was her father, it was still like, because of the social atmosphere behind the purge, it's like a weird gray area of like, well, he's not wrong, but he's still my dad, but he's not wrong, you know? And so I think it just teases out the like initial, these people don't have the connection to morals and relationships that the average person would because of the
Yeah.
purge,
Well, I
you
think
know?
it's yeah, I agree with that. My only issue is she makes it clear when they're talking about the purge day and just kind of the significance behind it. The parents seem to honor the day. It's like, okay, this is what we do. This is run of
Yeah.
the mill stuff. You can tell that she's kind of irked by it. She doesn't like it.
Hmm.
So for her to say, okay, well, the boyfriend is fine for what he's doing. I I don't know if I can believe that because of her attitude towards the day. And
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
because it's a moment that's so rushed, it's so quick. Like the boyfriend doesn't even like say any words to him except for like, "Hey," and then pulls the gun, which why would you get his attention if you want to kill him? I don't know. It's
Yeah.
Hollywood, whatever. But, there's going to be little things that we'll notice, but I guess in the moment of making the movie, maybe I don't know. There's just my little disputes is interactions with the family members within the house are just they don't add up as much, or like the
Mhm.
wife is like, okay, yeah, purge day, right? We would participate in the purge day if we felt like it was necessary or we felt inclined to do so. and uh and then when they have that moment where they got to give up the homeless guy, and then she's like, look at us, look at you, look what we're doing, look at what you're doing, and then she starts like pointing fingers at him and being like, how dare you, like, how could you do this? And it's like, okay, look, all right, we have murders outside of the house. They want this guy who's not supposed to be here because our idiot son let him in. Okay, we'll let that slide, he's a kid, whatever. But if you don't give this man up, your entire family's lives are at heavy risk. Why would you not just go with that? Even though it would be like morally horrible to do. You're like, well, like this guy's life is just as valuable as mine.
Mhm.
But in the honor of the day and the fact that, well, those people outside, they really are entitled to doing this purging event. You could say, I don't know if entitled is the right word. Entitled. I hate that word, but I mean, they use it in the movie. They're like, we're entitled to
Yeah.
purge. This is what we're
Yeah.
doing, right? But it's like, yes, okay, they can do that in this realm, right? I don't care what your morals are in this moment. If your family could literally all be slaughtered, or you give this guy up, why are you gonna look at your husband and be like, "Look at you, look what you've become," and then like leave, and then just leave it up to him to just figure it out, you know? And even the homeless guy's like, "Save your kids, man. Just take me outside." And he still doesn't take him outside. It's like,
Yeah.
ugh, damn it. Ugh, makes me so
Yeah, I feel like you
frustrated.
and me have very different reactions for that. Like, because I couldn't see a world where I would open those doors, because
It's,
you're in a bunker.
I
You're in a
know.
bunker. And so, like, even though they eventually get in,
Oh yeah, just
it,
hook up
it
trucks
should
and
have taken
chain. Just
forever. You should, yeah. I don't know. So
they're gonna
I
get
don't
in.
fault him for not letting him out.
Yeah. Well, see, that's the thing is like I was playing devil's advocate. I was trying to see both sides to it. And I'm
Yeah,
going, okay, either you put your money on the security systems and say, well, they'll hold up even though these
yeah,
guys say we have a way. We're going to get in whether you like it or not. So, give us the guy or we're going to purge your asses. So,
yeah.
uh that's where I was like, honestly, if it's me and it's my house and it's my family and these people, I mean, obviously you could see on the security cameras there's plenty of people. There's like a group of like 10 of them or something at least. And they're just waiting around waiting for their reinforcements, and they're like, you got a little bit of time, TikTok. Me, I'm probably going to
Yeah,
open those doors. I probably
yeah.
will.
And
Especially if I
I would
don't know
say,
these people, they're not going to just come in and like they want this guy or they're going to kill us. Yes, we're in a bunker, but they seem to like I'm not going to call any bluffs on this one. Like
mhm.
they don't seem like they're making stuff up. That's yeah, that's where I
Yeah,
stood
and
on it.
I would say you couldn't fault someone for making either decision
Yeah.
because your family and your own life is at risk at that point. So either decision you make, it in a way it's the right decision. Um, but all right, so earlier you mentioned that you wanted to talk about like how the purge would be in real life, or like what you think the impact would be if the purge was implemented in our life. So what do you think about that?
Well, the purge event is it's so short, but even in 12 hours, like a lot of damage can be done. But
Oh yeah.
here's the premise in the movies that I think they do very poorly, and I can't remember who it was that pointed it out to me, but it's very apparent through all the movies. And oh, it was another a YouTube video I watched that was titled like this is how you could win the purge, essentially, like
Okay.
how could one win the purge. And he was talking about like not necessarily robbing banks, but oh, no, he got it to the point where he was like, okay, you could do these certain things, but there's always going to be a way for it to come back and get you when it's not purge day. And so he's like, well, what do we find on purge day? All over the place, dead bodies. You know how much a human heart is worth, you know how much a
Oh,
kidney's worth, right? So the human body is so valuable that you
yeah.
could sell all that stuff, all the body parts on the black market and make so much money, right? It's
That's assuming that the black market is like a very easily accessible and like vibrant thing in that economy.
I would
You
think
know, like
so.
it'd be easier to go overseas with it, and that
I would
brings a
think.
whole other slew of stuff into it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah,
But I mean, in in our reality, the and oh, the point that I needed to finish on was the fact that in the movies, it seems like murder and killing is like the number one thing that people would do on Purge Day. In real life,
yeah.
that's not realistic. Now, of course, alternate reality, maybe in this reality, murder and killing and getting back at people who got you in the past, so you just want to kill them. Like, okay,
Mhm.
But if it's our world and our reality, people are not going to be just murdering and killing in the streets like, like in the beginning of the movie, you see the montage of like security cameras of people just
Yeah.
murking, like ganging up on people.
Yeah.
And
Complete riot of people just
oh
killing each other.
yeah, I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, you'd get that all over the place, but I think you'd find a lot more people robbing places, vandalizing. There'd be a lot of home invasions, people breaking in, especially in states across the country where people don't have guns in their houses, and people know that, so they're more likely to enter the home. The really rich neighborhoods would be super vulnerable, which is why something like a security system uh, that's heavy duty would probably end up being created and developed, and you'd have an economy of that all over the place.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah,
makes
for
sense to
sure.
me. I'm like, yeah, the rich people definitely would have an advantage if they're prepared. They'll spend a crap ton of money on a security system so they're not vulnerable on purge day, especially if they don't want to participate. So, okay, accurate, I think.
Hmm.
Um, that's just kind of my thought, but yeah.
Hmm.
What are you thinking?
Yeah, no, sorry. It lost my train of thought for a second. So you were saying you could see how the wealthy would have a benefit. Oh, no. So earlier you were mentioning like winning Purge Day, right? And
Winning
I was just
purge
thinking,
day. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I was just thinking like the most straightforward way you could profit off of Purge Day is to own a crime scene cleanup crew,
Yeah.
like to own a business like
Yeah.
that. And yeah, you're busy for the next week after Purge Day, you know?
Hmm. Or like
Uh,
insurance.
yeah, yeah.
Getting
Insurance,
insurance.
security companies, yeah, all that
Yeah.
stuff. Like there would be a huge market in that, and that's just an interesting thought.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. Huh. And all right, so I think it's interesting that in the purge world, they say that violence and crime has dropped down to 1%.
Yeah. When it's
Saying
not.
yeah, trying to say yeah, yeah. And they're trying to say that Purge Day has eliminated violence and crime from their society. And I think that's absolutely ridiculous because there's
Yeah.
no way. There's no way. If we had a Purge Day, realistically, that Purge Day would create more resentment, more fear, and more aggression towards the people around you. And it would be compounding, right?
Oh
Where if
man.
someone kills your dad, and are you just
It's
going to take
just
that
it's a
standing?
ripple
No.
effect, man.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And so either the purge day would become a purge week, become a purge month, become a purge year,
You think
and it would
so?
just like, oh, 100% it would
What if
snowball. And
what if
especially because, no, go ahead.
what if there's like heavy repercussions though of you acting out against people, like for example, someone kills a family member of yours but you try to get back at them when it's not during the purge event.
Doesn't matter.
If you are if you're convicted of murder,
Oh, yeah,
like you're you're,
100%.
you're done.
No, because think about the level of animosity it takes to be willing to kill someone, right?
Oh,
So
I'm sure,
if
yeah.
someone ruined your life or created that animosity in you to that level, you don't care about your own life after that point. You just want to get revenge, right?
Yeah.
Or if it takes you to that level. And so I don't think that would even be a factor. If like again, just saying that someone came in, killed your entire family, and then left you all messed up thinking you were dead, and you managed to get like their face, you know where they live. Are you next day? They're probably not going to be breathing, right? Like as soon as you get better, you're coming for them.
That's if you found out like who
Yeah,
and where.
yeah.
um yeah, that's true. I
Yeah. And there's also been psychological studies done where they're essentially testing levels of aggression and different coping mechanisms where they'll have a group of people that they try to push into an aggravated state, and then once they feel that they've achieved that aggravated state, they put them into like an anger room, basically like a place where you can just smash glass and break like wood boards and just destroy this entire room, right? They place them in this room and tell them to have at it, do whatever you want for 30 minutes, we'll come back and then we've got a questionnaire for you to fill out, right? And the people that um All right. Let me tell you about the other group first. So they had the group that was allowed to smash stuff for 30 minutes after getting aggravated. And then they had a separate group that was put into the same room, but they were told, sit here and wait for us, right?
Yeah.
Essentially implying, like, don't break anything. Sit here, be a nice person, whatever, we'll come back. And so when they did questionnaires afterwards, the people that were smashing stuff for 30 minutes were just as aggravated, if not more aggravated, than they were at the beginning. Meanwhile, the people that
Really?
weren't allowed to smash stuff were fine. Yeah. They felt like their aggravation dissipated because they took the time to sit there with their thoughts and wind themselves down. Meanwhile, the
Yeah.
aggravated people kept leading into their own aggravation. They kept
Oh
building it
man.
up through their own actions. And so I think that's like where the purge day, it would be like a society wide study in that, where it doesn't just end. You don't like get a moment to relax and decompress and let those emotions go to the side, because that is your society. Your society is continual violence, even though it's only meant to be in one day.
Wow. Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it. Hadn't really thought about that. It certainly would have a ripple effect on society as a whole, uh,
Hmm.
the rest of the year, you know.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I um I had a thought, but I don't know if it's sidetracking too much. No, it's not. I guess so. One thing I noticed in the movie, now I mean, I'm gonna watch the other ones too, but um, my my dilemma with the individuals in the movie is it seems like everyone outside of the family and the homeless guy acts very robotic and not human. And I think that's
Hmm.
on purpose. Those that are participating in the purge act this way. Um, Even the neighbor before they go into their house, the neighbor lady that's talking to her, you could tell
Hmm.
she's talking weird. People don't talk
Yeah.
like that with each other unless they're like, in their head they're thinking, I hate you, but I'm really trying hard to put on a face, which
Yeah.
essentially is what she's doing. So I guess I could let that have a pass. But even after that, when they're like, we're going to purge, it's like, I don't know how to do a reenactment of it. It's like, we want to purge. So we're going to like they get this look on their face. They're like, we are entitled to the purge. So
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
we are going to kill you right here and right now. And
Mhm.
it's super weird, and then they do this little circle thing holding hands and
Yeah.
say this little like mantra of blessed be America. And um so I don't know if you could just say, well, they're probably people that participate in this event every year, and they essentially worship it,
Yeah.
and so they've become inhuman in a way, and I could see that. Obviously, again, it's a fictional reality, so I think anything really goes here. It's not supposed to mirror the real world, but in a way, it's supposed to be very similar and more of a social commentary, which I get that. And you'll see, like, I think you need to watch some of the other ones. I do think the second one's a lot better. Don't know about the third, fourth, or fifth, but um, they definitely kind of carry on that that commentary.
Hmm.
Which I don't know how much you agree with it, but some of the extents that they go to in a couple of the movies, you're like, okay, all right, I see what you're trying to get across, and it's
Hmm.
very political when you think of it when you get to that point,
Yeah.
unfortunately. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. That's just some of my thoughts on the whole thing. It's
Yeah. So what I think you're starting to get at is like the culty mentality where they just completely buy into it and then they start behaving robotically.
Hmm.
And surprise like there's if you look into cult study, that's actually a very uh
Rare.
prevalent train of thought. Like, yeah, that's a real thing
Oh,
where because they've been taught or indoctrinated into this belief of whatever the cult is, everything adds up to them, right? Like everything is logical. This is how reality is. One plus one equals two. And so for them
eh,
in the purge, it's the same way. If I kill, my soul will be relieved. If I
yeah.
kill, then I will ascend to a better version of myself,
We
right?
appreciate you
And
for your
so
sacrifices. That's
exactly,
something they
yeah,
say over and over, and that you seem like the way they say it, it's like they really mean that. They're not saying that like sarcastically or anything.
yeah,
There's something
yeah,
something significant about this. Like if they get to purge, you've become the sacrifice.
yeah,
You should be honored for that as well. It's
exactly,
so strange, but it's
yeah.
very culty.
Yeah, and that's the whole point. And so like how you were able to recognize that the people that believed in the purge the most were very robotic, and then the people that were questioning the purge or didn't associate themselves with the purge as closely, they felt a bit more real. And I
Yeah,
think they were trying to point out like the people that are questioning their morals, the people that are like disassociated from the purge itself, and I would kind of equate it to like the people that are willing to question their own beliefs and question the structures of society are the most grounded, relatable people you could meet, right?
yeah,
Like that's it. I mean, to a certain extent, then you get people that take it so far it enters another cult mentality. But uh yeah, and so I think that that's the behavior you're saying is the like totally bought in. I'm not gonna like. There's no need to think about it. The purge is true. The purge is a good thing for us, right? Versus
yeah,
the questioning, more empathetic side.
yeah. It makes total sense to me. Um,
Hmm.
I could see that. I mean, if the purge were to be a real thing, I think if there was this whole sort of cult following of this event, people that took it super serious, especially maybe those who essentially run it, or not those who kind of orchestrate it, but maybe those a step down who just kind of follow orders and say, okay, this is what we're doing. They,
Yeah,
I could see them being the ones to kind of make up almost like a belief system along with it. I could see
yeah.
that happening in
Well,
reality, but
I would say the belief system is implemented by the people that don't partake in it and believe it to be something beneficial for themselves. So like you
mm,
have to imagine that the people that the new founders and the people currently in office for their government, they probably don't partake in the purge, right? But they believe it to be something that's beneficial for society. And so they created this language, like it's used in the radio station that you hear, it's used in all the advertising for the purge, of it being like purge your soul or like whatever language they use. It's a very pseudo religious messaging,
mm,
kind of like borderline indoctrination. And so I wouldn't say it's the like the tier below them or like the tier below whoever's organizing individual purges.
right,
It's not them that's making it a religious thing. It's more of religious encoding or like cultish encoding from the people that like high up in the government that pass it on, and people are picking up on it and like taking it to the next level.
right. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I think well, I'm pretty sure in the later films they actually talk about uh people that run it, people that orchestrate everything, and kind of
Hmm.
how it started. Like the fourth
Okay,
movie is like the origin movie, and the,
interesting.
and the newest one that came out this summer is like way in the future, I think.
Yeah, when it just turns into a forever purge, like the title
Yeah,
says. Yeah,
yeah, and it's like Wild West kind of vibe,
yeah, yeah,
which I haven't heard anything about that movie.
yeah. Neither have I. I'm kind of surprised. I've just seen the
Or
advertising.
anything.
That's it.
It's probably because a lot of the movies that came out this past year just kind of go into the theater and go out really quickly. They don't last very long because
Yeah,
no one's really going to the theater. Well, they are, but not nearly at the rate as before COVID. But yeah, well, I'm actually kind of excited to watch the other movies because, again, like the whole premise is just kind of fascinating to me. Um, yeah, I again not a super big fan of this first movie. After watching it back, I just thought it's so self-contained, and this family, I can kind of sympathize or empathize, I don't know, sympathize with them a little. But at the same time, I felt like there were some very out of character, or not out of I don't know if out of character is not the right phrase. Unrealistic reactions or decisions to certain things. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
Like the way the daughter and the wife react to the husband saying, "Okay, we're gonna do this," and they're at least the wife is like actively helping tie up the guy and everything, and almost torture him too. They're like shoves a letter open envelope opener into his side where they shot him, I think. So
Jeez.
I was like, good grief, like they really are just they're in it. But I'd probably I'm a little bit easier going on most movies. I'm not such a harsh critic. Personally,
Mhm.
I give the movie maybe like a 6.5 out of 10. It's got a really interesting premise. It's kind of exciting, but the action takes too long to ramp up, and just some weird interactions with the family members. But aside from that, I think it was okay. Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah. Um. Yeah. I don't know. I wouldn't say there's any very interesting camera work like we saw in The Prestige, and there's
Yeah. It's
can't help it.
Gabe.
Huh?
He's a
What
part
was
of the
that?
podcast now.
Yeah. 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 Um. Where was I? Oh yeah. So the camera work. There's not any super interesting camera work. You get some interesting scenes where there's like I don't know, like a very particular frame where the lighting and that kind of stuff is interesting, but it's nothing that's too extraordinary. And yeah, the story it's an interesting concept, but I feel like they could have executed it better and
Oh,
not spoon fed so much to us.
you mentioned the lighting. I
Yeah.
did not like 90% of the shots in this movie because they
Hmm.
took place in a dark house, and I can't see anything. I can't see what's going
Yeah.
on except with
Yeah.
like a little flashlight they're like shining around. I'm like,
So
okay.
I mean,
Oh
yeah, I don't know.
man.
It's not like that's not the biggest complaint I've had for the movie. It definitely it kind of makes sense for how the story progresses, but and just for thrillers in general, you generally it's like a trope to have darker lighting for most of the movie. So that's not something I'm too
Even then though, like
bent out of
scary
shape on.
movies and stuff like that, they
Mhm.
make a like a it's not like there's more light in the room, but it's like when your eyes adjust to
Yeah,
the
yeah,
dark room, and so you're able to see everything in the room just fine. But the
hmm,
way you're watching the movie is like you've had a light shined in your eyes, and then now you're trying to like focus and trying to see, but like you can only see what's being shown with the flashlight.
yeah,
Whereas most darker films, at least like big budget movies, let's say the Conjuring movies, you can see like all the shots in the dark houses and all that. Like you can see what's going on.
hmm,
You're not sitting there
yeah. And
struggling.
I
That's
wouldn't
just
like I was saying, I wouldn't say that technique or that tool is in itself is like a bad thing. It's just the way they implemented it. Yeah, it was a bit janky. They could have used that to create more suspense when really it just created
it
like
didn't.
a an ambiguous viewing experience. Yeah.
The thing is, they're looking for this guy in the house so they can give him up. They come across the boy. in his little remote control toy, and then
Mhm.
they come across the daughter, and then they finally find him, but he puts a gun to the daughter's head for like 10 seconds, and then the wife comes up behind, and there's a whole interaction. Somebody shoots him, he gets knocked on the ground, they knock him out, tie him up, and then that's pretty much it. Like you don't really get
Yeah,
any other things happening in the
yeah,
house. So having this darkly lit house, there's no jump scares, there's nothing really intense about this because we haven't had the invaders
mhm,
yet. And that's where I feel like
yeah,
the movie gets good, is when the people start coming into the house and they're fighting back, like the action sequences with the dad fighting the people as they're coming at him. That's the best part of the movie, in my opinion. I'm like, ah, this is actually pretty wild. Like, this is
mhm,
kind of fun. Like, man, if I was in his shoes, I'd be like, get the hell out of my house. I don't care if I got to shove the shotgun down your mouth, you know? So I was like, hell yeah. I was kind of like, I'm rooting for him. Like, get him. And,
yeah.
um, and then he gets murked. And I'm like, okay. This guy
Mhm.
gives him a little speech as he's got a knife in his gut. Yeah, I don't know. Just kind of um what's the word? Not subverted expectations, but
Let down.
kind of a letdown at the end.
Yeah, yeah,
I thought it was interesting to have the neighbors come in, finish off the last of the purging group, and then
yeah.
they're like, "Well, we're actually here to purge you guys." So,
Mhm.
um yeah, buckle up. So that was kind of interesting, but even like then the homeless guy shows up and saves the day. That was another thing that felt out of place. If if he well, here's here's the other thing, right? So I don't know if you noticed. So the father ends up deciding, okay, we're gonna fight back. We're not gonna give him the guy.
Yeah,
But then you get the scene of the guy still tied up to the chair and he's having to like cut his way out. I'm like, why would you leave him sitting there if you know
because
these
they
people are
still
gonna come in?
because during the purge, you still can't trust that guy.
But he's not even there to. He never went in there to hurt anybody. He was literally just. He just wanted to live. That's why he put the gun to the daughter's head because
Yeah,
he's like,
yeah,
"Don't kill me. Stay
yeah,
away. Just let me stay
yeah.
here,
I,
and then
I
I'll be
still I
gone."
still say like because it's the purge, you can't trust that. You
Mm.
can't trust that he's only there just to try and live or survive this purge.
Well,
He
then
may take it as a moment of advantage over the family to do something to the family.
Well, okay, I'll side with you on that case then. But what about the fact that once all the people start coming in the house, somehow he never has any interaction with any of them. He's just goes into hiding in the house again until the
Mhm.
most important moment where they need him, and he's
Yeah,
going to do that?
yeah.
Would he really risk his life like that? I
I
don't think
mean,
so. I don't think he would. If I was him, I'd be like,
yeah,
screw this
there's not
family.
enough there's not enough character development with him to really say it. But here's the thing is that they show he's a military veteran, right? And so there's a lot of things that they could have done with him that I would have found a lot more interesting. So like going back to when um he was like hiding from the family equipment and they were trying to find him with a flashlight,
Yeah.
right? If they had somehow alluded that he was finding a way to avoid them because all they could see was like in the cone of the flashlight light, then like because he had military training or something crazy like that, then that would have gave that just going back to the lighting thing, that would have gave the lighting techniques they used a lot more purpose because it would have shown that this woman can't see anything, this family can't see anything, but the military guy can see where they're at, so he can, or the homeless guy, so he can evade them, right? And that would have been the whole purpose behind using that technique. And then going forward to that scene where he saves them, um, like just him being a veteran, like he already has a mindset to protect others and sacrifice himself for others, right? That's because he's a veteran. So it makes sense to me why he came to save them at the end. But
Okay.
they could have done a lot more to try and broadcast that.
I feel like they should have had a scene where he like saves like the kid. Like instead of the father coming in to save the kid in the basement,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
should have been the homeless guy, I feel. I
yeah,
think that would have been
yeah.
a more meaningful moment and would have been like, okay, like
I
he's not
100%
here
agree.
he's not
Yeah,
here to harm them, and he's willing to even go as far as, you know, uh risk his own life to save them too.
yeah.
Even though they kind of messed him up and uh but they, they let him live essentially, or let him
Hmm.
go, even though he had a very high risk of dying. But yeah, I feel like they definitely could have done more with his character. He felt like he was just there in the background for the whole movie except for two scenes. Or
Hmm.
yeah, because he comes into the house, they're like, "Who's this guy?" "Oh, there's the son or the boyfriend." "Oh, he's shooting at me." They're freaking out, and then the homeless guy like disappears,
Yeah.
and then we don't see him until he's got the gun to the daughter's head. So you get that whole scene, and then you get
Hmm.
him right at the end where he's saving the day. Yeah, it just felt out of place, is all. That's really my only issue with that.
Yeah, that's fair for
What they
what
could
they
have done
gave us
better.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um. Oh. Oh. Also, did you catch? Because I haven't figured it out, and I don't know if you're meant to, but did you catch why this group is going after this guy to begin with? Did they even say?
Yeah, it's basically like they feel like they have a right to purge the unwealthy and the homeless because they are wealthy and well educated, right? Like
Okay.
they have a
They're
right to purge
contributing to
the lower
society.
class. Yeah, that's their way of contributing. Since they're higher class, they have a right to purge the lower class, and like almost an obligation.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Didn't I thought the guy said something about him actually killing one of their people, and that gave them further reason to like go after him,
I
something
don't
like
remember
that.
that. And if that was a case, it should have been self-defense. It wouldn't have been like, oh, we just stumbled upon this dude and he killed one of our guys. Just from the character we do see, it wouldn't fit his character to just randomly kill one of these kids.
Well, here's why I feel like there's more. There's got to be more of a backstory, is because they go to extreme measures for one guy, and it's this big group of people, of at least 10 people, and
Yeah,
they're like, we're gonna hang around, we're gonna wait, the first time
yeah,
asking, we want this guy, we want to purge him, give him up, or we're gonna go to extreme measures and we're gonna get in.
mhm,
So then they hang around and wait, and then they bring in the trucks and rip off the doors and then go in the house and try and hunt them down. Why would you go to those great lengths for one man,
mhm,
if especially if there's no significance to him? It's just that he's homeless
yeah.
and has, he's not contributing to society. Why would they do that? Why not just say, screw it, let's go look for some more homeless people somewhere else, purge somebody
I'm not
else?
saying the homeless guy didn't potentially kill one of their
I feel like
friends.
that's what gave
I'm
them
just saying,
motivation to keep
yeah,
going.
yeah. I'm just saying, like it was probably in self-defense, just to
Yeah.
match his
Oh, yeah,
character
yeah,
that we
yeah.
see.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're probably
yeah.
like approached it, or a couple of them maybe approached him, and then
Mhm.
he probably killed one, messed the other one up maybe, and then escaped, and then they somehow like got the rest of the group's attention and like tracked him down all the way into the
Mhm.
rich neighborhoods, which also felt out of place because, he's dirty, grimy, grungy. It's like, why is he in this gated community right now?
Mhm.
May like Especially when gated communities like that are so far away from the slums of town. Like, he definitely looks like he's been running, and I mean, he's got blood on him and stuff.
Yeah.
He's all messy, and he probably been running a ways, but it felt weird that he ended up in this gated community, and he's got this whole posse of people after him. Just felt like there's more to it. There's got to be more to it. So if anybody knows, please let us know in the comments, because we did not catch that part. But, yeah.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah. Yeah. Any other thoughts? Rating on the movie?
I would agree with you. It's somewhere in the 6 out of 10 range. Maybe a little bit less depending on what your criteria are. Like as a
Yeah.
thriller, I didn't. I don't know. Maybe I'm too picky on my thrillers, but it was not a thriller to me. And then even as like a commentary on different social things or politics or anything like that, I would still rank it pretty low. It's not delivering on those messages as well as they could be.
Yeah.
So yeah, somewhere between like a 4 and a 6.
Oof,
So I'll just
yeah.
go with a hard like 5 out of 10 right
A
now.
5. Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, my critical, like if I really want to be critiquing the movie, because I can do that. Like for example, I love Star Wars movies. They're pretty bad movies, all of them. In retrospect, they're all pretty bad
Yeah,
from a
yeah. They
critic
just have great
standpoint.
world building,
Oh
for the
yeah,
most part.
world building and all the
Yeah,
characters and everything is super interesting. The
yeah.
music, a lot of times, the picture,
Hmm.
the colors and all that is so great. But from an acting standpoint and from a dialogue script writing standpoint, Star Wars is
Give me 10
terrible.
minutes.
So, but because I'm not like that, I find all of my Star Wars movies to be like 8, 9, and 10 range. Um,
Hmm.
so yeah, like I said, this movie, critic standpoint, I give it like a 5, and then you know more on my own scale. When it comes to just movies as a whole, I give it like a 6.5. I think
Yeah.
it's not too bad. Um, it's just not it's not nearly as good as the other movies, I don't think. I'm really interested to see how the other films pan out.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I don't know. You'll have to come over and watch some of them. We won't
All
do
right.
we won't. I mean, unless we find one of these other films to be really intriguing, maybe we could do a podcast on it. But otherwise, I don't intend on doing another podcast on the Purge because we get the idea with this one. But um, yeah, if there's anything that kind of stands out to us and we want to kind of talk about it, we could definitely do that.
Hmm.
Just my thought.
For sure. Yeah.
I'm really curious to what you think of the second one, though. I
I'll
think
have to
it's
give it a
got
shot.
I think it's got some better acting, a lot more action. You don't have it all like jam packed in the last third of the movie.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, it's gonna be good. I'll probably go watch it again. I need to watch a movie tonight though. I kind of want to watch something. Unless you want to come over, watch a movie.
Maybe. Apparently, my family's doing something that they didn't even let me know about. So,
Oh, really?
I actually need to go sooner than later. Yeah, I'll hit you up though.
Okay, yeah, let me know. Let me know what's going down. Yeah, I kind of want to I don't really want to hang up here anymore. I kind of want to go watch a movie downstairs or
Fair
watch a
enough.
TV show. So, yeah, but just to close things off, again, appreciate you guys checking out the podcast. Hope this one was an interesting one. If you guys had any additional thoughts or opinions on, the Purge existence and the movie or the movie series as a whole and what you guys think of that, let us know. Um, Please also remember to subscribe if you haven't done so yet. And yeah, we'll be back next week. Again, sorry this one came a little bit late, but we got it out. So you guys have a good rest of your night. Thanks for coming in. Um,
Well,
yeah, let me know what your parents are doing though, or what your guys are wanting to
yeah,
do.
I don't know.
They're
People
probably
have
like
knocked my door like 4 times in the past 15 minutes. So
they're
I'm like,
they're probably like, come play a game with us.
okay. Yeah, I better go, man.
I, f- I
I'll
feel
message
that.
you in a bit. We need to brainstorm. Like, all right,